Hello, and welcome to this information session brought to you by the California Society of CPAs. I'm CalCPA Communications Manager Aldo Maragoni, and with me is Linda McCrone, CalCPA's Director of Technical Services and our peer review expert. And today we'll be talking about some of the requirements for mandatory peer review in California. Linda, what does this requirement mean for firms?
It means for firms that if they issue accounting and auditing reports that are dated in 2010, they're subject to the mandatory peer review requirements of the California Board of Accountancy. The important point is that it's the report date, not the year end of the financial statements, that determines this. So if they have a financial statement for December 31st, 2009 year end, they'll be issuing the report in January or later, and they'll be subject to mandatory peer review.
And who administers peer review?
The California Board of Accountancy has approved the AICPA peer review program as being an administrator of the peer review. And so for firms that have SEC clients, they go through a national AICPA peer review program. But for all other firms with home offices in California, they go through the California Society of CPAs.
Okay. And can you talk a little bit about the reporting requirement?
The California Board of Accountancy has a peer review form on their website that firms must send in to them. We do the process, but the form has to be submitted by the firm. And they have a 3-year reporting period based on the last 2 digits of a firm's licensure number. If you're not incorporated and you aren't a partnership, for a sole proprietorship, it would be your license number. And it's for 01 to 33, it's July 1st, 2011. 34 to 66, it's no later than July 1st, 2012. And 67 to the rest, no later than July 1st, 2013.
And how does the California Board of Accountancy know which firms are required to go to peer review?
Well, before peer review started, they really didn't have a database of what CPAs were functioning as sole proprietorship CPA firms. So they've started a database, and they asked for all the firms that were in the first group to go to the database and enter whether they're a firm or not. Most people are the employees of a firm, and that they'll just simply answer that, and that will be sufficient.
And what about firms that have already been having peer review?
Those firms can use their old peer review reports to report to the CBA. And if they had their report done in another state by an AICPA peer review program provider, they can still use that report.
And what about the new firms that have never been peer reviewed?
Well, an important point to make here about the new firms is that if a firm stops performing accounting and auditing in 2010 and they have a later reporting date of, say, 2012 or 2013, they still will be subject to mandatory peer review. And they need to get their peer review done in 2010 or 2011 in preparation for that reporting date. For new firms, ones that are due by July 1st, 2011, they need to start their peer review now. They need to get enrolled in the program now, get their peer review done. And the reason they need to do this is after we get the peer review report and the work papers, it takes us approximately 3 months to get the peer review technically reviewed and to get it to the peer review committee for acceptance. So we're telling firms that they should be using due dates, the very latest being January 31st, 2011, because it generally takes us these 3 months. Firms that wait until after tax season to start their peer review will be too late. And you should really start it now rather than even January, because peer reviewers book up, and sometimes it's very hard to get a peer reviewer that's going to be able to do it. So my strongest advice to everybody who needs to get a report by next year, who hasn't started peer review, is to get started now.
And so how do firms start that process?
They go to the peer review section of the California Society of CPA's website. And on that section, there's 2 forms they need to complete. There's an enrollment form, and there's a scheduling background form that they need to complete. And they can email, fax, or mail those forms to us.
And that scheduling form has a due date. What is that?
The due date is when all the materials are due to us. So they should really, at this point, be using a due date of either December 31st or January 31st, 2011. they'll determine with their peer reviewer what's an appropriate year end to get that accomplished.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. For more information on the mandatory peer review requirements in California, you can visit the California Society of CPA's website at calcpa.org/peer review. You can also go to the peer review section of the California Board of Accountancy's website, as well as the AICPA's website peer review section.